Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about Thor Ragnarok. Now this movie is getting tons and tons of praise, especially on websites such as Rotten Tomatoes. I had a chance to see it early. Does it deserve all that praise? Let's take a look. After putting a stop to Ragnarok, Thor returns home to discover that Loki has indeed taken over Asgard. This leads to a chain of events that sees Hela, the long-banished sister of Thor, released. After she makes quick work of Thor, he is forced to fight his way back to Asgard, depending on allies both new and old. First things first about this movie, it is so colorful and fun, you will not believe it. You want to talk about taking the movie straight from a comic book, this movie delivers in that aspect. The filmmakers here definitely took a page from the James Gunn playbook. I mean, this movie is definitely influenced by the Guardians movies. Along with it being fun and colorful, the action is also very flashy and exciting, and the humor is very quick-witted and hilarious. It's that humor that is my first minor problem with the movie. While most of the time it works, there are some times in the movie where humor is used in scenes where they should have been serious. I can't really give you an example because one of them's a very big scene in the movie and I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, this movie has a near-perfect cast. Of course, at first, Chris Hemsworth returns as Thor, and he's still very familiar, but this time he is way funnier, and you're going to notice that this is going to be a reoccurring theme. His character arc in this movie is that he basically has to fulfill his destiny, whether he wants to or not. Tom Hiddleston returns as Loki, and as always, this is a good thing. He is still ever the trickster, but he may be changing into one of the good guys. Maybe. Again, with the humor, he has some really funny scenes, especially seeing Hulk for the first time since the last time they talked. One good character arc for him and Thor is that Thor may be finally on to Loki's games this time around. Thor Ragnarok also sees the return of Hulk, which you're really starting to see the inner conflict between Hulk and Bruce Banner in this movie. You see, since we last saw the Hulk in the last Avengers movie, he's been stuck as the Hulk for 2 years. I know everyone wants their solo Hulk movie, and this time around you kind of get your Planet Hulk, but we're not going to be getting a solo Hulk movie anytime soon, so developing his character, or characters as it would be, in other movies will have to work. Another thing you'll notice about Hulk is he is way more talkative in this movie. Now granted, it's not smart Hulk, it's more of a baby learning to talk Hulk. This leads to yet another minor issue for me, is that Thor never really reacts to Hulk's new speaking ability. Hulk just starts talking and Thor just goes along with it. It's not that bad. Again, minor gripe. Lastly, if this was a test for the new buddy system team-up movies that Marvel wants to go along with, this is a very good start to them. Now let's talk about Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie. I've really liked her since the movie Dear White People, and I really thought she was good in Creed. In that movie, she was a bit of a scene stealer, and the same goes for this movie as well. Now I say that, but I'm not saying that she's an overbearing scene stealer. She just fits right in and makes every scene better. She has a decent character arc in this movie as well, where she's hiding from her past and in some ways extremely afraid of it. This fear of the past does tie in to the entire plot. Long story short, she is a very fun addition to the franchise, or maybe we could say replacement for Jane Foster. By the way, they do mention her yet again, and it's sorry she broke up with you, which of course leads to a joke. Next up is Cate Blanchett as Hela, and I'll just put it like this, she is very threatening and formidable as the villain in this movie. Her character may be a little one-dimensional, but at least she's not trying to destroy the world as most of the villains are in these movies. Destroying the world is someone else's job in this one. Her character just wants to claim what's, well, technically rightfully hers. One thing I can say about Blanchett's performance is that she seems to be having so much fun playing the baddie that we can't help but have fun along with her. All I gotta say is that anyone that can do that to the hammer, well, you just have to wait and see how formidable she really is. Next up is the supporting players. First there's Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster, and well, he's very Jeff Goldblum. Benedict Cumberbatch returns in a scene that extends his post-credit scene from the Doctor Strange movie that he had with Thor. Clancy Brown does one of the things that Clancy Brown does best, and that's provide a voiceover for the villain Surtur. Lastly, Idris Elba is given more to do besides twist a sword as Heimdall this time around. Now when it comes to the characters, again I have some minor gripes. First, the Warriors 3 kind of get the shaft in this movie. I understand that they had to Shazam Zachary Levi out of there for DC reasons, but they all kind of deserve better. That being said, their characters are used to show the might of Hela, so in a way it kind of works. I mean, if she can handle these guys that easily, then what's she going to do to Thor? There's also no mention of Lady Sif. That being said, it's basically Jamie Alexander couldn't get away from filming Blind Spot. Lastly, and this was kind of the biggest disappointment to me, is that Carl Urban playing Scourge was kind of underused. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't get any cool moments or anything, but they could have done more with him. When it comes to the style and tone of this movie, it is definitely the style and tone of Taika Waititi. If you've seen the movies What We Do in the Shadows or Hunt for the Wilder People, two movies that I highly recommend, then you know exactly what you're going to get when it comes to the tone of Thor Ragnarok. You'll notice that some of the casting comes from Hunt for the Wilder People. First, one of the Grandmaster's henchmen is the main villain in that movie, and also there's a big three-part cameo scene involving Matt Damon, Sam Neill, who was in Hunt for the Wilder People, and the other and better of the Hemsworth brothers. Speaking of that scene, honestly, it should have been Liam. Now, I'm not saying that I really want him in this movie, or, well, any movie at all for that matter, but that being said, it would have been funnier being him given his history of Thor, being that he lost the part to his brother and all. On a side note, can you imagine, really imagine, just imagine how bland Thor would have been if it would have been Liam? Now, at the time of this filming, this movie has 96% positive on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, is this movie deserving of all this praise? Yes, it is. It is a very fun and entertaining movie. That being said, I don't think it's the Invincible movie that people are making it out to be. Yes, the movie is extremely fun, funny, and action-packed, but it also has some underused characters and is too funny at times when it needs to be serious. That being said, these are minor issues and will not destroy your enjoyment of this movie. The positives far outweigh the negatives, and in my opinion, this is by far the best Thor movie. As always, thank you so much for watching. What did you think of Thor Ragnarok? Do you feel it's the best Thor movie? Do you think it's even a good movie? Feel free to comment out down in the section below. But remember, it's only just one guy's opinion. I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino. Till next time.